Nobody yet. So good evening and welcome to our headache and migraine talk presented by Dr. Justine Blainey-Broker. My name is Angela Bulmer and I'm the marketing coordinator here at the Justine Blainey Wellness Center. And during the talk tonight, I wanted to mention that you can comment and there'll be an opportunity for us to address some of those comments, but please note that if you do comment using either YouTube and or Facebook, unfortunately your name will appear. So for confidentiality reasons, we want you to be mindful of that. We do have an alternative method, and I will talk about that in a moment, that any questions that can go directly to Dr. Justine, and she can address those near the end of the talk. So, one second. Sorry about that, everyone. Turn the telephone off. So if you have a question during this particular talk, you can feel free to text it directly to Dr. Justine at the number below on the screen, and she will be happy to address your question directly at the end of this talk.
Angela, put the slides up for me.
Yeah, sorry. And yes, and I am going to do all of Justine's slides, so we're going to kind of communicate together. Let me introduce you to Dr. Justine in case you're not familiar, but she is a mother and amazing wife. She owns her own practice, Justine Blainey Wellness Center, and that came from a personal passion and a family story with her brother who needed care. She's really a pioneer, and she is very, very passionate about what she does in helping and serving others, as well as a world-class athlete. She just really is such an amazing person. Tonight, she's going to be passionately speaking on headaches and migraines and really some amazing techniques and management skills that you can use to be able to help you. Let me introduce Dr. Justine Blainey-Broker.
Thank you. If I could have the slides, that would be great.
Oh, you can't see the slides?
I can't see the slides.
Oh, no, that's not okay. Let me just disconnect and see if I can get them. Is that can you see them now?
Nope. We won't let us stress us out because stress will just increase headaches. But if I could see the slides, that would help a lot. How you doing, Angela? I don't have the slides.
I'm trying so hard to get you slides. I'm just reloading everything to try to see if they will come up again.
Okay, we'll be patient for a minute there.
Okay. I do apologize to everyone. The internet has not been totally our friends, as I'm sure some of you have felt that at home as well. Justine, I'm not 100% sure if it's actually coming up. Now I can see the slides. Can you see them at all?
I just see a circle waiting for the slides.
You can just see a circle waiting for the slides.
Yes.
Okay, I don't see any comments associated with it.
So I'll just stick with it for a second, see if we can still make this work, because we got lots of great information that we want to talk about, all the different types of headaches, migraines, tension headaches, sinus headaches, allergy-related, hormone-related headaches. There is literally over 24 different types of headaches. So we want to talk about solutions and ways to manage the stress right now and how they go up with stress. So hopefully we'll get these slides going.
Okay. Okay, so it's hopefully the slides now come up a little bit. They're coming back for me, but I'm not sure if they're coming back for you, Justine.
So far, I don't see them.
Okay.
I have them in front of me, so if other people can see them, I can
Okay.
continue using my information in front of me. But it certainly is obviously harder without the slide.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, why don't we do that? I don't think I can check the broadcast to see what it's actually doing. I could try and see if I can pull it up, but on my phone while we're going through, okay?
So you want me to
Okay.
continue
Yeah,
without?
so let's do it without you being able to see it, and hopefully the audience can actually see the slides that are there, okay? So we're on the upcoming talks.
All right, so we're talking about different types of headaches. One of the things I want to make sure you're aware of is we have lots and lots of information coming up your way. We are putting tons on the website, tons on YouTube, tons on Facebook. We're going to have a talk on how to protect your back with back stretches to prevent injuries coming up April 14th, April 21st. We're going to have one on nutrition and healthy tips in isolation. And April 28th, arthritis and natural anti-inflammatories, things you can do when you can't see your physiotherapist, your naturopath, and massage therapist. What do you do on your own to help yourself? What foods do you eat? What foods do you not eat? What supplements do you get? What exercises do you do? We're going to have in May a core strength, strengthening your back for injury prevention and also for that jelly belly or, if we're in isolation, maybe not doing the exercises as much, get into a gym. So what can you do to strengthen your abs, strengthen your core? Coming up, and then in May we're also going to have healthy feet, knees, and hips. What exercises you do to strengthen those toes and strengthen those feet, strengthen your knees, strengthen your hips, and create mobility. So some great information coming your way. And at the end of May, we are going to have our makeover, and the makeover is on Alzheimer's, dementia, brain fog, and nutrition for that. So today we're focusing on headaches and migraines, and it is something that I suffered so much with. I think from time of age of 5 or 6, had headaches, migraines, where I would take easily six Tylenol, 8 Tylenol. It was something that I lived with by my bedside. And then I would end up with stomach aches. So I would get carried by my mother to the hospital. And usually that was about once every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month. At that time, I was also asthmatic. So I had my asthma sprays, and I had went from all this different types of Advil, Tylenol, whatever that was going to work, to Demerol injections. So I was getting Demerol injections every couple of weeks to once a month to manage these migraines that would be like no light, no noise, don't touch me, for about 4 days. And everything would stop for around 4 days at that time. And it really got worse in my teenage years, in my more stressful times around my hockey court case, and then in my first couple of years of university. So I've been there. I had to go through all the different allergy testing, and we're going to talk a little bit about allergies and food intolerances, chemicals. We're going to go through that today because I've done it. I've lived it. And now I'm headache and migraine free, but it was a journey, and a difficult journey at that, but a learning one that I'm happy to share with you, because really when you have those kind of headaches, migraines, you're not the best for your loved ones. You're not the best for your children. You're not the best for your parents if you're younger. You really can't do much of anything when you have that severe headache. And then if it's a tension headache, you're usually pretty irritable, or you're making decisions faster, or you're just moving slower in the morning. Everything feels more sluggish. So we're going to go through different areas to how to help you, things you can do to help yourself at home. We're going to cover that today. So first of all, there are lots and lots of different types of headaches. Over 90% of the population suffers from headaches at some point, and that's millions and millions of people around the world. So you are not alone with headaches. There are over 24 different types of headaches. The three most common are tension, cluster, and migraine headaches. So we're going to try and cover those. You'll see a slide there about migraine headaches versus tension headaches. So migraine headaches can often be just your eyes. You don't want to see. You don't want to move your head. Your head, it needs to be in isolation. Um, uh, when you have tension headaches, they're often more like a band around your head. And you'll find that with the tension headaches, you'll feel the pain in your shoulders, the back of your neck, whereas cluster headaches can hit you like a sharpening stab knife, and they can come for short stab and then go away. Short stab, it might be 1 to 7 seconds, and it might happen 7 times a day, and it might happen 30 times a day, 35 times a day, but it's a sharp stabbing pain that comes and goes. And then if you'll see with there, the pitcher's headache, obviously that means the pitcher just can't see it all, is covering their eyes. Angela, how is that working for you? Because I cannot see the slides. And I can't see you anymore. So I'm just checking to see you that help, because I can't see the slides there.
Hi. So Justine, I am trying to work on the slides behind the scenes, and a couple of people have mentioned that they're having trouble seeing it, and I am looking on my phone as well at the live stream, and they are not appearing. So I'm just going to keep working behind the scenes and see if we can get those going. Okay.
Beautiful. Well, let's work with it.
Okay. Right, so I'm going to go back to you.
Through it, you might feel there's everything's more difficult. You feel heavier, you feel lethargic, you can't think, but you're still able to push through it compared to a migraine. If you do have a migraine, you might have an aura, which is funny lights in your eyes or glow around your eyes. You might have dots that you're seeing. Your vision could be impaired, and you don't actually have pain. People can have migraines without pain. They can have a funny smell. Often people talk about a burnt toast smell with a migraine. For me, I never got the aura. I never got the smell. I just got the pain, and no lights, no noise, no movement, just really just barely focusing, no food, and certainly just couldn't even move my neck at all. And so that's one of the ways I became a chiropractor. I was severe migraine second year university. And my goal at that time was to become a psychiatrist. And I was on my way to go to med school, studying for the MCATs. And I got one of these severe migraines in the time of exams. And it was so much neck pain that I couldn't move my head at all. So my roommates at university called my mother. She came, picked me up, drove me to the hospital. They thought I had meningitis. This was the second time that they thought I had meningitis. So they did 35 needles, lumbar puncture needles into my back before they could get the fluid in the back. So I'm not sure if that's an error or not. Certainly seemed like excessive and certainly was painful to determine I didn't have meningitis. I was having a migraine. That's how severe the neck pain was. And I could not lift my head off a pillow, could not walk. And after those lumbar punctures, I had what's called post-LP headaches. So post-lumbar puncture headaches, where again, I couldn't walk, couldn't move. So they put me on narcotics, equivalent to heroin as a painkiller. And I saw numerous neurologists to manage dealing with these post-LP headaches. And then one of the neurologists explained to my stepmother just how severe these drugs were. At that time, I was being Toronto Western Hospital. I was being wheeled across the streetcar tracks, and I was in so much pain in the wheelchair that I fell out of the wheelchair on the streetcar tracks, and my stepmother couldn't lift me up to get me back in the wheelchair to get me across the street. And so the neurologist explained how severe these were. My stepmother said I could no longer have them. So then I was stuck with no painkiller and had to look for solutions to deal with these post-LP headaches. And it took me an entire year of dealing with the digestive issues, so much so that I wrote exams and I studied with a desk over the toilet and ended up writing some of my exams literally in the bathroom at U of T with a proctor outside. That's how severe the side effects were to these narcotics that they had me on at, I guess I was around 21, 22 years of age. So I've been through it. And these are some really, they were scary times when I look back at it. But yet I have learned how to manage it now so that I don't have migraines anymore. So those funny lights, aura, that's part of a migraine. But there's also different types of headaches, which would be secondary headaches. They can be hormone balance around menses. That could be at the time of ovulation or right at the time of menses. I have many patients that need to come and get adjusted right before their cycle starts. It can be related to sinus headache, and that's where you get pain around the eyes and the top of the eyes, ethmoid and maxillary sinuses around with being sick. You can also get headaches related to allergies. And that certainly was a component for me with all the allergies and food intolerances, combine that with stress. So we're going to talk about some of those. I know the first answer for many people is a painkiller, and that's what I did as a kid. I turned to Tylenol, ibuprofen, aspirin, you name it, whatever I could do to get rid of that pain. And I wasn't reading the label on the bottle. I was just like, more is better. Like, I am suffering, and 2 is not going to cut it. And yeah, I was a teenager, but I was just doing anything I could to survive. But we do know that there's huge side effects. Tylenol, acetaminophen, number one cause of a kidney and liver failure in North America, that you want to look towards ways to protect your kidney and liver. And if this is something that's regular, you need to have the blood work done to test how your kidney liver is doing. And we want to look at the fact that Tylenol's been recommended to be off the market for over 3 decades. That's how severe it is. But if, quite frankly, people want that painkiller, or they want something that's cheap, right? So that's a challenge. And we know that aspirin has been related to Rye syndrome and related to leaky gut and to ulcers and GI, gastrointestinal bleeding. In fact, that it can lead to numerous deaths related to increased aspirin. So today I want to talk about a different way, the way that I have learned. And we've broken it down into 4 steps. Number 1 is adjust your chemicals and your toxins, dealing with those foods and allergies and tolerances. We're going to talk about nerves. And yes, I'm a chiropractor, but I'm going to teach you today 5 different ways to work on your own neck at home. So we're going to cover that today. And we're going to talk about ways to relax those muscles today, how to de-stress, and then we're going to talk about the hormone balance. So we're going to cover those 4 things: toxins and chemicals, nerves, muscles, and de-stress, and hormones. So number 1, talking about those foods and chemicals and toxicities. We can deal with the fact that many of us can be addicted to caffeine. And if we don't get it, we can get a headache. And often, if you have a headache, caffeine can help. Even chocolate has been known to help a headache or migraine. However, you need the good quality stuff. And it's often the dark chocolate. So not the sweet chocolate, not the milk chocolate, but the dark chocolate, 70 plus, 80%. Those are the ones that you want to have. Most often, headaches are related to a cumulative effect of intolerances, so multiple foods over time. So an example for me, I loved cheese and Kraft dinner and then spaghetti as a hockey player, as an athlete. Like, those were you go for the carbs. And then, of course, I loved my sweets. And so combining the intolerances to dairy, intolerances to gluten, intolerances to sugar, all 3, when you added them up over time, that's when I would get into, not the first day, but over 2 or 3 days, especially a week later, add that with stress. And I certainly would end up with a headache and a migraine. So coffee and chocolate are certainly some of the things that can trigger, not just a couple or a little bit here and there, but especially if it builds up over time. Eggs and egg whites. They used to have me have the allergy injections. It was crazy. I'd go every week I was somewhere between around 12 to 18, having those allergy injections. And my arm would blow right up. And I would be so swollen all the way in my arm, all the way into my neck. And they would tell me that was normal. And I went for a year like that and found out that the injections were based in albumin, an egg white, something that I was completely allergic to. I'm just going to check Angela's um, message. I'm just going to keep going. I still got lots of great information, and it doesn't matter if I don't have the slides. I can share this stuff. All right. So, other things. So the egg whites, and looking at ways to deal with egg whites, wine. A lot, whether it's red wine or white wine, most people have more problems with red wine. And it has to do with the nitrates and how the wine is made. So a lot of times you have to have the less sugary alcohol or no alcohol. That's certainly what I have chosen. Um, and you want to look at the preservatives for the alcohol. So typically, unfortunately, the cheaper wines, cheaper alcohol, sugar alcohol can cause more challenges, especially if you mix it with juices, because juices and pop tend to have a ton of sugar. And so it's not just the hangover, it's the sugar that causes to have the next day feeling like you have a headache or you're feeling sluggish. It's the combination of the alcohol with the sugar. The other thing is just not eating or not eating in regular intervals. I know I do intermittent fasting, but that's not something everybody can manage. So the best way to do that is to test yourself, is to try the intermittent fasting. Maybe you're going to try 8 hours, then 10 hours, then 12 hours, and to work towards what kind of good healthy fats you need to have and healthy proteins so you can lengthen that intermittent fasting. Maybe you're a type of person that can't do intermittent fasting, but you need to work then towards testing yourself that you need regular intervals of food every 2 to 3 hours, and making sure that those snacks involve a healthy fat, healthy greens, and healthy protein rather than a snack being an apple. And I know a lot of us have been taught, like, have fruit for a snack, but that creates sugar. And over time, that can lead to a headache or what we call a sugar crash. Also, people are told about, like, oh, we'll have a muffin, or we'll have a bagel, we'll have a yogurt, we'll have a granola bar, and then you have a sugar crash and you start to get that headache building. So we want to make sure that those snacking have the healthy fats, and like nuts or seeds or avocado, or if you're able to have dairy, a piece of cheese, in order to have the fat to go with the protein for your snacking. So not eating and not having enough fluids. Many people are not getting enough water in the body. So you want to have half your body weight in fluid. So if you're 160 pounds, that's where you get the 10-ounce glasses. Now, if you have a coffee, then you add another glass of water. Do a workout, add another glass of water. So this takes time. This is the time now. If you're at home, try to add another glass of water every single day. So start that breakfast with a glass of water, or even when you brush your teeth, first thing, glass of water. Getting used to adding more water and training your bladder so that you can be able to sip throughout the day. If you're not a water drinker, add healthy electrolytes. We sell the recovery, but add the healthy ketones or healthy electrolyte so that maybe it tastes a bit better, or cucumber or strawberries. Mix it up, frozen blueberries to change the water a little bit. Add lemon and ginger would be a great anti-inflammatory. Add things to change that water and prepare it through the day. Maybe you make 8 water bottles first thing in the morning, and you make sure that you finish them by the end of the day, adding one each day. The key about this is that you want to journal your food. Find out where those problems were. I learned that, for example, if I just had a bite of a Snickers bar, I was done in. Next 2, 3 days, I was having a headache or migraine. First, I'd get that sugar rush. I'd have that sort of sugar high, but then I was crashing later. I used to love chocolate milk, and that would be, after a hockey game, I had chocolate milk, and that would be something that would be a trigger. I used to drink Diet Coke. That was something my stepmother loved: Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi. And it was the aspartame, not just one, not two, but when it built up over the week, the aspartame would build up. So looking to avoid GMO foods, anything with artificial sugar, because that leads to headaches and migraines. Again, not at the beginning, but over time. And these things are hidden in your crackers, hidden in your bread, hidden in packaged foods. So definitely, if you're a headache sufferer, you want to avoid anything in a can, in a box, anything in a plastic bag. You want to go to all foods that have no label: celery, broccoli, cauliflower, green peppers. You're looking for more greens that have no label at all. Instead of trying to go to whatever you can pack on the shelf or put in the pantry, those are the ones that have um, preservatives in the cans, and they leach into the foods and cause you damages. So definitely these are areas that we want to avoid. And the way to do that is to journal. So journal all the foods, all the everything that passes your mouth, and whether it's water or gum or a Tic Tac, a Lifesaver, anything that passes your mouth, you start to write it down and you start to look for trends. So what I recommend is you rate each day's headache out of 10. So for women, do that according with your cycle. For men, do it throughout the month as well. Men have highs and lows with their hormone balances. So you would match the journaling of your food with the cycle and then with your exercise program, because exercise at a moderate level can often really, really help with headaches, migraines, and depression. But sometimes those who spike with the HIIT exercises, high intensity, if they're not fit enough, that can lead to headache and migraine because you're not getting enough oxygen to the brain. All right. So you get that headache. So definitely looking to journal. You want to put the foods, anything, water, anything that passes your mouth, rate the headache that day, describe the headache that day, and then look at if it's related to any time in that time of the month and your exercise program. So that allows you to see trends so that you can see, oh yeah, I had a sandwich 3 days in a row. Boom. At the end of the week, I had a headache. Okay, I've added wheat all the way through. Next thing is you look at what's called elimination diets. And this was definitely something that was very, very helpful for me, doing an elimination diet. And that meant I would give up all dairy of all kinds for 2 weeks straight. And then on the next day, I got to have all the dairy I want. So I'd have my chocolate milk, I'd even have ice cream, I'd have cheese, and boom, would I crash. And I learned that dairy was a problem. I will teach you about how to get rid of that problem and dairy intolerance later in the presentation. I did the same thing for wheat and found out that I was not celiac or irritable bowel. I was having all those stomach problems because of all the Tylenol and Advil that I was having to survive at that time, along with my asthma sprays at that time, which I don't take any of that anymore. So I learned that I was gluten intolerant. And certainly had a challenge with sugar. So it became the point that I ate pork chop for breakfast, pork chop for lunch. It was just protein and vegetables. Like I had to eliminate all those foods. And so looking, for example, at things like crackers, things that are often made in a company often have a lot of different things that you can't spell, you can't read, and those are the ones that build up and cause those chemicals that can cause a damage. The other one that you want to look is natural flavors. Natural flavors is often GMO. So if it says natural flavors, that's something you want to avoid. And unfortunately, natural flavors is often found in a lot of salad dressing. So you think that you're having this great salad, I'm having all my greens, and boom, you put something bad on top of it. So definitely making your own salad dressing, Bragg's, apple cider vinegar, your organic olive oil, add your spices in it, and that would definitely be the best way possible. I want to talk about BIE technique. That's bioelimination technique. That is definitely a technique that I have used to do allergy elimination and how to deal with these food intolerances. So it is a muscle testing technique. So when I did all the testing with the medical conventional approach, I did first all the different scrapes and needles on my arm, and then all the needles across my back, and I would just blow up like one big red tomato. And they said I was allergic to everything. And so then the solution with that was just avoid everything. Well, thanks. When you're a teenager, that was certainly extremely difficult to find ways to eat, especially around with my sports. Then I did the under the tongue testing, and that's to look for more foods. They put a drop. So I remember when they put lamb chops, lamb under my tongue, I literally fell asleep within 1 second. And I'm a vegetarian now, but I used to love lamb chops. It's wild. I mean, it would be a healthy meat, but my body didn't react to it. And same with ham, with the nitrates. Boom, I was out. Um, so turkey, you would think that that would be a great one, to be a wild animal, but again, I could not manage that. And so doing the under the tongue testing helped me to determine which foods and chemicals I would react to. So they would do that, and you would have to go through the reaction in order to determine that that was one that you were to avoid. And then again, the medical solution was avoidance. So when you go to the BIE technique, they now, instead of testing a couple hundred things, 500 things, now they can test thousands of things, including testing different emotions so they can go through different chemicals. And even instead of just looking at sugar, you can look at fructose versus sucralose, and you can break down the different products and the different chemicals. And once you determined what you were intolerant to, for me, it was a lot of molds, different types of molds, different types of dust, different types of chemicals. Then doing with that allergy test, I can find my weaknesses and then use the biofeedback technique to reduce my reaction. And over time with those treatments, I no longer had a reaction to the molds, to the dust, to dairy, which was huge for me, especially being on the keto diet this time, and to wheat. So, I mean, it's certainly still stay away from sugar now. And I still find that if I were to have sugar, I would get a headache and a migraine. But it's because, like alcohol, I don't have sugar or alcohol, so it helps me avoid it. Helps to avoid it. So definitely the BIE technique. I apologize, but massage therapy helps, acupuncture helps, BIE technique, nutrition helps, naturopaths help. But all of those services are closed at this time. All over Canada. The only services open are chiropractic, in the alternative care, or what we are primary care doctors. So we are only open though for acute care, emergency care, and for chronic conditions to avoid a relapse. So BIE technique, though, it will be up and running, and we'll have that back coming soon. The next technique is called SCIO, SCIO. Lots of controversy about BIE and SCIO technique, but I can, as a patient, I can just tell you it works, right? I don't provide these therapies, but they helped me. So how SCIO works is a computerized band. It goes around your head, on your wrists, and on your ankles, and it reads off vibrations from you into the computer. It's attached to the laptop, and then the practitioner can read off those different vibrations. It can look at the vibrations for all the different organs in your body, all the different acupressure points, acupuncture points, all the different nerve and spinal points in areas that you're weakened or inflamed in. And then they can send vibrations through the computer to those areas. So I know I've been at times where I was completely comatose, dealing with allergies and intolerances. And then within 45 minutes, I'm up and walking and up and moving again, using the SCIO technique. So I have used this technique for almost 10 years now with huge success. And it's used as a way to deal with allergies and intolerances. One of the coolest things about that technique is I was able to get a list of all the intolerances that I had with a number. So I remember when I did it for my daughter, one of the things we saw in that number was mashed potatoes. And she loved mashed potatoes at, Christmas or Thanksgiving, Easter. And that was something that made her tired. So I know with my kids, we did the testing on them and they didn't ever get like allergies, but those were the things that made them tired. So to have that list was great because those were the foods you would avoid before a competition or a big sporting event or a big hockey game or a big, baseball game. So having that list and knowing that, okay, they're not going to get sick, they're not going to get a headache or migraine, but these are not the foods that you want to have when there's something important coming up in their life. We definitely want to look at our foods. And so with Tony Robbins' pyramid, they talk about the hour of power. And so to manage headaches and migraines is managing our mind first. And that's that first hour of the day. So very, very important to that first morning, have a place, your favorite place to sit. I have my favorite chair. And that's when you want to make sure you have quiet time for you, especially at this time when maybe more people are at home than you're used to. You're not getting out of the house or away from people, even just quiet time that you used to have in the car. So find that favorite place and be able to have time of meditation, prayer, reading, learning, but something to grow. And that's in that first hour of the day, that's a very powerful hour. And if it's an hour is too much, even take it to 15 minutes, but something that gives you that time to create peace for you, that time that's your time to calm your mind, to prepare your day. I recommend preparing your day the night before. So for me, I prepare Sundays for the week, and then I go over my plan the night before for every morning. I find I get a better night's sleep, and sleep certainly helps prevent headaches. So starting with Tony Robbins' Hour of Power, increasing the water is this next part of the pyramid, and then the next part is the greens. And so that's meaning that every plate you're aiming for half the plate, or about the size of my hand. That's where you're how much greens you want on your plate. And I know for people that's not breakfast for you, but if that's not what you're used to, start with a little bit. If you're making an omelet, add spinach, add avocado on that side of that plate, add asparagus to those eggs. Today's the time to be adding different recipes, different ways of eating, training your body to eat a different way so that you're adding more greens, because that'll help your body detoxify to get rid of the chemicals so that you can help your brain function better and prevent headaches and migraines. When you get to the next thing in proteins, of course, you want wild meat, you want a free range chicken, and you want to make sure that it's grass fed. And then you want to make sure that it's farmed fish, right? So that's not in a box. That's making sure you're going to the counter to get it. You're checking the chemicals in those foods. Any preservatives are going to cause a challenge, especially. I grew up with single parent mom. It was bologna, right? And the bologna sandwiches on white Wonder Bread. So of course, Wonder Bread, no wonder it stayed fresh for a week. And so the Wonder Bread and bologna, both things would be completely toxic. So staying away from sandwich meats, going for the real proteins. Now I'm vegetarian, so I'd go with the portobello mushrooms or chickpeas if you would eat that, but find ways to manage those proteins in a vegetarian way or in a protein shake, whether it's very healthy, perfect protein, meaning it's not coming from cows that are eating chemicals but are eating grass. And then when you get to your dairy, careful that you're looking that you're not overdoing it. Typically you're going for about the size of your thumb. And then if you're going to condiments, that's very, very little condiments. Condiments are typically things like soy sauce, full of chemicals that can cause challenges, salad dressings, ketchup full of sugar, mustard, all of those areas, relish, all of those condiments typically can cause problems. Even spices often can cause a challenge. So now's the time to start to learn to grow your own spices, or to make sure that you have the organic spices, so that you're very careful of any chemicals going in the body. We want to look at food combining. And that affects for your digestion, but that also affects for headaches and migraines. So one of the biggest things is fruit on its own. And I know that was difficult for me. I used to love spinach salad with strawberries. I don't know about you. And then adding, feta cheese or goat cheese. But if you are worried about headaches and migraines or digestive areas, you want to keep that fruit away from things. And if you are going to have grains, you're having it with healthy fats. So the goal of food combining is to have like the paleo diet, have your protein with vegetables, have your carbs with fats, but not your proteins with your carbs. So that goes against everything that I grew up with, where, a Sunday night meal, the highlight of the Sunday was roast beef dinner, green beans, Yorkshire pudding, and mashed potatoes, right? And of course gravy, right? So when you deal with food combining, you would have your meat and your greens, no mashed potatoes, no Yorkshire pudding. And if you were to have that, you would have that at a separate time with a healthy fat, and you would have your fruit at a separate time. So be careful of the fruit being separate, though, because those who have effects of the sugar highs, you will realize that you may have to be cautious of even just how much fruit you're having. Supplements that we want to get to. Some of the biggest ones is your B vitamins and your niacin. So looking at a B complex, a B vitamin to manage stress. This is a good time for almost everybody. If you're feeling the stress, I'm seeing a lot of people with mental illness, anxiety, depression at the office, and just making them feel absolutely horrible and almost crazy, or to the extent that they don't even want to get out of bed to manage their kids. They don't want to do anything with the stress getting larger. So vitamin B is a huge one. Vitamin C, vitamin D, huge ones. Your essential oils, things like CoQ10. That's a little bit more expensive, but your essential oils improving your omega 3s. Looking at primrose oil is can be good. Also looking at vitamin E. Those are all good oils. Magnesium. You want to make sure you have the good quality magnesium, but magnesium helps for muscle tension. So if you find you're getting muscle tension through your neck, which can lead to headaches, especially those tension headaches, and then they can grow into migraines, definitely looking at magnesium to be helpful. Looking at natural anti-inflammatories, bromelain, quercetin, devil's claw, all natural anti-inflammatories that can help reduce inflammation in the joints of the neck. They can reduce inflammation everywhere, but then that can help when you reduce inflammation. It can also reduce inflammation in the sinuses. That can be helpful as well. Nasal sea salt spray. You can get that at the drugstore, or you can do a teapot, right? So I find that kind of messy. So the nasal sea salt spray, if you go with the hard one, it's actually really painful. It sprays pretty hard up into your nose. But if you go with the softer, the medium one, that's just salt water to help through the sinuses. That can be very helpful as well. With the sinuses, sinus headaches, you can do a self-massage coming around the bottom part of the maxillary sinuses and then the ethmoid sinuses along your eyebrows towards your ears. You can do a massage. The acupressure points are on the side of your nose. You can do circular motions or tapping. And just inside your eyebrow here, you can do a circular motion or again tapping on and then tapping all along the mask-like area to help reduce those sinus headaches as well. Some of the ways to manage headaches is to do detoxes. I obviously recommend talking to a naturopath to do a detox safely, but one of the ways you can do is a day of fasting. That's a detox of 1 or 2 days. You can just have water through those days, or limiting to, say, like eggs, a couple of eggs and nuts. You're limiting your calories to 500 calories. That's a way of detoxing. Or another way is just a fruit and vegetable weekend. I would recommend, if you haven't done that in a while, you might need to be closer to your bathroom, which is easier if you're in isolation at home. Another way is to do a detox foot bath. That can be done at the office with our holistic nutritionist. That can be pretty gross. Basically, it creates a current through your feet and your feet sweat. It can't be done if you're on significant medications, because you will sweat out those medications, or if you have metal in the body. But having done it, like when my gallbladder was a problem, it went dark green. So I knew I was toxic. I had to do a gallbladder cleanse. You could do it and it would go severely orange. As an athlete, that would mean you need to clear out that lactic acid. And when I did it, my legs felt a lot lighter. It can go dark brown. Smokers, people who eat a lot of chemical foods, a lot of action, it'll go dark brown like a mud, significant mud. And you know that you need to do it more often. Glutathione is one of the areas that can help your body detox. It's found in cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, kale, collards, cabbage, cauliflower. This is the time to try new recipes. This is the time to add more greens and try new foods. Just like a little kid, you have to have the food 7 times before you can say you don't like it. All right. So if you're not used to collards, this is the time to try and get used to them. If you're not used to rhubarb, this is the time to try it. And that doesn't mean put it in a muffin or in a bread, or, have zucchini bread. No, this means eat the real zucchini and try different ways to get used to having the zucchini and having your family get used to adding these new greens in food. So, glutathione, look that up. Add with garlic, the onions, cruciferous vegetables. That will help your body function better to deal with these chemicals. So that was number 1, the foods and the chemicals to manage your ability to deal with headaches and migraines. Number 2 is to manage the nerves in your neck. The nerves in your body control everything in your body. And so these nerves right at the top part of your neck, C1, C2, the atlas axis, are the most important nerves in your body. They affect almost every function in your body through the vagus nerve. And you know that if you're nervous or if you're tense, you can get an upset stomach. Some of us want to eat more. I'm finding if I'm home more, I want to go to the fridge, even thinking about putting a sign on the fridge saying, are you really sure you want to open this? Do you really need something in here? So some of us want to eat more. I know my stepmother was the opposite. She wanted to eat way less, and when she was stressed, she would lose a lot of weight. So it had to be plan the meals and make sure that she was getting the good quality meals when she was under stress. So the nerves in your neck, that vagus nerve goes all the way down to affect your stomach. The nervous system controls everything in your body. And if there is an area of subluxation, areas that twisted or turned in your spine, that will lead to headaches. And subluxations can be caused by the 3 T's: trauma, all right? That means damage. And that can be not just a fall, an accident, or the way you're working right now. We're seeing a lot of different workstations. That's why I put videos up onto our website about different ways to deal with your laptop and importance about neck posture and neck stretches. I did eye exercises and hand exercises. Those are all on our website. But definitely the nerves in your neck can affect by trauma, which can be repetitive strain, the way you position your neck. But it also, the 3 T's: trauma, toxins, the foods that we're talking about can cause subluxations in the neck. And the third one is thoughts. And that's the stress that we're all feeling right now. So the thoughts can cause subluxations in the top of your neck. It can affect how you sleep. So we know that if you have subluxations, that's like a dimmer switch. I have one of those in my dining room right over here. So I can kind of make the light a little romantic or a little bit more like for family. And that lowers the power in the light into the room. Well, the same thing when you're subluxated. If you have damage in top part of your neck, that dims your energy, dims your power throughout your body, and can cause those subluxations. So it's kind of like your cell phone. If you see that the power bars are going out, and you got to go recharge your cell phone, it's the same thing that's happening in our bodies. We got to find ways to recharge our body. And we know that chiropractors are amazing with headaches and migraines, as well as acupuncture, massage. But right now, you're having trouble getting to that, right? So what I wanted to talk about is that making sure we're careful of Tech's neck and making sure we're careful of the position of our neck. If our head is down, we're going to cause more stress in our top part of our neck. So if we're at that cell phone, we're at that laptop, we're looking at the keys, we're causing more damage in the neck. So we want to make sure we roll those shoulders back, head is back, ear is over our shoulders for our work at home to put less strain on the neck. Tech's neck can literally, if your head's 60 degrees forward, can cause 60 pounds to your neck, obviously causing more strain to your neck, increasing your risk of headaches and migraines. So it can be tested, those nerves at the office, but some of us just can't get to the office, or we're scared to get to the office. So as I said, I wanted to show you 5 techniques that you can do at home to relax those muscles and help deal with your own subluxations. What can you do at home? So number 1 is find the spots. It's just behind your ear, all right, just under what we call the occiput or the mastoid process, and you can feel the first bone in the top part of your neck. As you're pressing on that first bone, you can either do circular massage at that area, or you can do both sides, circular massage just under the hairline. But you can also do one side or both sides. I typically recommend one side at a time. Put pressure and flex at the same time, as well as breathing out. So you're doing 3 things: pressure, breathing out, and flexing your neck at the same time. So it looks like this. I close my eyes because I find that's more relaxing, but you don't have to. So pressure, breathing in and breathe out. Let's try the other side. So pressure just under the hairline, all right? And just beside the spine, not right on the spinous or right on the middle of the spine. Breathing in and breathing out. And as you do that, you can press all the way down. You can go from C1 to C2, down C3. There are 7 vertebrae in your neck. You can come down through the spine to help relax. If you find it's on the side, you can come through the side and just laterally flex in the same direction, breathing in and breathing out. Flexing towards the side to work on relaxing C1, C2 in the top part of your neck. So C1, C2 is very important. Coming down to C5, 6, that's lower in your neck. And that's the nerves that would go into your neck and shoulders and create tension into your neck and shoulders. I often will use a pincer grip, kind of like when I used to have a dog, you could grab the top of the dog's neck and their skin there. So you use a pincer grip and you could go to the back of your neck. So your thumb and pincer area is at the lower part of your neck, and you're squeezing fairly hard at the bottom part of your neck. And so this is the second step is you take a big breath in and breathing out, flexing down. And you do the opposite side, breath in and breathing out. So you want to work, the first one is at C1, C2. That's the most important areas. That's the atlas axis. Second is down at C5, 6. The third step is working on your traps. All right. That's these focus on what I'm grateful for. I focus on what I can do. I focus on what I'm focusing on what I can control. I can control my food. I can control my thoughts. I can control my actions. Instead of thinking, I hope this will be over soon, I know this will be over soon. And saying, I wish for, I pray for, say that I have done my best and God will do the rest. If I don't, this will happen. I don't wear all the gear, and focus on what I can do. So thinking about those thoughts, changing them into positive personal affirmations. We know that this is going to change. We know that we are strong, we are powerful, and together we can get through this, and we can get through it better when we reach out. And that's why, whether it's Skype, Zoom. I know we're doing a Zoom call as a family for my mother-in-law for her birthday. Finding ways to connect. And if you don't have a way to connect, Dr. Blake and I are doing virtual, whether Skype or even just a regular phone call. We'd be happy to hear from you. We're doing those for free just to connect to you, because we know that people emotionally are suffering, and we're just seeing so much of that in the office. And we do not want it to get to desperate times. So we want to be there. We want to know that there are 3 things that will affect this attitude, these positive thoughts. We are affected by who we hang with, especially the top 5 people, and what we listen to. All right. Who we hang with and what we listen to. It's time to turn the news off. You do not need to know the statistics at all. It's time to fill that time with jokes, to fill it with positive people. If it's your friends and your family and they're only talking about the damaging effects of what's going on, you've got to say no. You guys limit that time at the minimum. We can talk about this for 5 minutes and that's it. It is time to move on to the things that are great, that are going on, and what you're going to do different, and what you're learning, what you're cleaning out, focusing on the changes you're making. So number 1, want to be careful who you're hanging with, who you're talking to, and what you're listening to make sure you're feeding that positive tank, or what I call the love tank. Number 2 is living with gratitude, spending time every single day with that hour of power in the morning and that time before bed, what you are grateful for in a positive way. So I am grateful for my bed. I'm grateful for my pillow. I am grateful for my home. I'm grateful for my family, my car, my pillow, my food, right? Just thinking about the ability that I can walk, or that I can read. All right, I can see. So thinking about the things that we are grateful for. And the last one is to find a way to laugh at yourself. All right, find ways to laugh, those funny videos, to laugh at yourself. The other day, I don't know, I got something out of the microwave. It was super hot because I was rushing to eat at the office, and dropped my fish and my lunch all over the floor. So it was glass container. Everything went everywhere, and everything smelled like salmon. Thank goodness Margaret wasn't there, because I'm sure she would have been so upset. So, and it was a big mess. And you just got to laugh, right? Because any one of us could drop something and make a big mess. So the 4th thing was taking a look at your hormones. And hormones can lead to headaches and migraines. And one of the tests said definitely looking at your thyroids, your adrenal function tests, and what's called the Dutch test. The Dutch test can be ordered by your naturopath or your medical doctor. It is not covered by OHIP, so it would not be traditionally ordered as a regular blood work, but it does a huge amount of hormone testing to see if you're being challenged and your hormones are leading to headaches and migraines for you. As we're finishing, because I wanted to keep this to the hour, Just want to make sure that you can investigate essential oils. I don't sell essential oils. We do use them in our home at times. There are definitely ones you can look up for boosting your immune system, but there are also ones that can help with headaches and migraines. In our home, we might use peppermint oil. There are ways to use chamomile, lavender, cedarwood, valerian, sandalwood, jasmine, orange. That's what we have going on in our home right now. But looking at the essential oils and seeing what will work for you. Just be careful what you buy because there's so many ones that have extra chemicals in the very things that you're trying to avoid. So I don't sell them, but please make sure that you investigate. And if you're going to use essential oils, that you look at quality essential oils to help you. And it may involve getting different testing. So again, I just want to make sure we're available for you. Our office is open. We are seeing some really people challenging. We have numerous techniques where obviously the screening before, the clean pen system, the cleaning system, the table cleaning, the spreading out for social distancing. But the most important thing is we're there online for you too. If you're nervous, if you're suffering, Dr. Blake and I are there. We want to help you to learn these healthy techniques that you can do at home. So I did 7 video takes this Saturday. I've got 5 more coming this Saturday. My goal is to get all this information out to you free. Share it with friends who are suffering. My goal is to help you at home, especially when you can't get to your massage therapist, your naturopath, your chiropractor. If you are feeling isolated or nervous or scared, we want you to have this information. So remember, upcoming, we have the back stretches, we have the back strengthening to prevent injury, we have the knees, hips exercises, we have the nutrition in isolation. We want to get that information to you. I'm going to check right now my cell phone to double check some questions. I did cover about sinus infections, sinus headaches, the sinus massage, the acupressure points, and the sea salt nasal spray. When you drink the water, so a lot of people say that cold water can cause a problem. We should look towards room temperature. My husband prefers room temperature water. Of course, you wanted to have it filtered, which we do at the office and at home. Um, I love cold water. I am the kind of person that can chew ice cubes. And even if I had a headache or a migraine, I could still chew ice cubes. And that would help me. I don't know if it's because of menopausal or what, because I think I've always had it. So honestly, it's test yourself. They generally say that room temperature is best, but personally, that does not work for me. Do you recommend that for everybody to get allergy intolerance testing? If you find areas of fatigue or sluggishness, absolutely. Headaches, migraines, absolutely. Areas of inflammation, absolutely. Be wary that the conventional testing is very, very limited. It's also somewhat painful. Those little needles were painful. And then when I did the allergy shots, I would definitely, my arms blew up, that was painful. And then when I did the under the tongue, you do need to be there because at one point I fell asleep, like I literally fell out of the chair. So the other techniques are a lot easier and no pain at all. But definitely, if you have any symptoms, I recommend it. I did it for my children because I felt that because I had so many allergies, my grandpa had so many allergies, my mom had so many allergies, my brother had allergies. I thought maybe it'd run in the family. So I wanted my children checked. Otherwise, I'm going to check if there's any questions. You guys can send messages to us if you have questions. We are there to help. I think we chose a great ending video. Stay tuned. It's to keep you motivated. Here it comes. Okay. Okay, I just got the message that there's no video. We'll try and send a link to the video because it was a positive, uplifting video. And I just want to wish the best from Dr. Blake and myself. We love you. We miss you. We wish the best for you and your families. We know that these are difficult times, but we have been through stress before. You have built your stress muscle before. You've handled challenging times in the past. You can do it again. All right. So hang in there. We are there with you. We're praying for you. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Good night, everybody.